Welcome back to the channel. This week is packed with brand new releases that you definitely don't want to miss. From high-stakes thrillers and emotional dramas to mind-bending sci-fi and hilarious comedies. Whether you're looking for your next binge-worthy show or a movie night pick, we've got you covered. So sit back, grab your popcorn, and let's count down the top 10 movies and TV shows released this week that deserve a spot on your watch list. Number 10. Mayor of Kingtown Season 4. The series continues to follow Mike McCluskey, the de facto power broker in the fictional town of Kingstown, Michigan, a place where incarceration is the dominant business, and the line between cops, prisoners, and gangs is blurred. In Season 4, Mike finds his grip on the city under threat. As the Russian mob's exit leaves a vacuum of power and new players move in to fill it, triggering gang warfare and escalating violence. Meanwhile, a formidable new prison warden arrives, intent on reshaping the status quo and challenging Mike's long-standing control, forcing him to protect those he cares about while navigating his own fractured moral compass. The new season also introduces new characters, including a gangster with national ambitions and a correctional officer seeking her own path, which complicate alliances, loyalties, and power structures in Kingstown. Underneath all the action lies the ongoing theme, the legacy of violence, corruption, and institutional failure in a town built around incarceration, and what it costs those caught in its cycles. Season 4 raises the stakes by suggesting not just escalation, but a detonation of consequences, where old rules no longer apply and everything Mike holds dear may be at risk. You can watch Season 4 of Mayor of Kingstown exclusively on Paramount. Number 9. The Asset. The series centers on T, a driven young police cadet whose life takes a dangerous turn when Denmark's intelligence service recruits her for a high-stakes undercover mission. Tasked with infiltrating a powerful criminal empire that has evaded justice for years, T assumes the guise of a luxury jewelry dealer to slip into the inner circle of a ruthless crime boss. Her way in is through Ashley, his captivating partner, whose glamorous life hides bruises of fear, manipulation, and lost freedom. As T grows closer to Ashley and her daughter, the boundaries between duty and emotion begin to dissolve, pulling her into a web of forbidden trust and moral conflict. With the crime boss's paranoia rising and her handlers tightening control, T finds herself caught between two worlds, each demanding her loyalty, each capable of destroying her. When the mission reaches its breaking point, T must choose between the identity she built for the agency and the one she's fighting to reclaim. You can watch The Asset exclusively on Netflix. Number 8. Welcome to Derry. The story plunges viewers into the dark heart of the fictional town of Derry, Maine in 1962, long before the events of the famous film adaptation of It. A new family arrives hoping for a fresh start, unaware that the town's beautifulism hides decades-old terrors and a monster feeding on fear. Beneath Derry's quaint facades lurks the terrifying entity known as Pennywise, the clown whose origin is slowly unveiled as the town disappears children and hides its sins in plain sight. The series explores how fear becomes a cycle in Derry, trauma buried deep, town secrets swelling, and horror erupting when you least expect it. As new and returning characters grapple with both personal and collective nightmares, the small-town tension escalates into a haunting dance of memory, evil, and survival. And as the mask of normality slips, each moment reveals that everything in Derry is connected, and nothing stays buried for long. You can watch it in the US on the streaming service Max, formerly known as HBO Max, and on the channel HBO. Number 7. Nobody wants this season too. In Season 2, podcaster Joanne, once a fiercely independent agnostic, and Rabbi Noah, fresh from their whirlwind romance, are thrust into the chaotic aftermath of love. The honeymoon glow fades as Joanne wrestles with questions of faith, identity, and conversion, while Noah navigates the weight of his community's and family's expectations. Meanwhile, Joanne's sister Morgan, long seen as the sidelined loser sibling, bursts into her own story, forging unexpected connections and confronting the twists of her romantic life. Their relationship faces not only inner doubts and external pressures, but also the arrival of provocative new players who threaten to shake their fragile equilibrium. Brimming with sharp humor, raw vulnerability, and cultural tension, the season delves into the messy, all-too-real challenges of merging two very different worlds. Ultimately, Season 2 asks, what does it really take to go from falling in love to building a life together? And is the dream worth the price? You can watch Nobody Wants This, including Season 2, on Netflix. Number 6. The Witcher Season 4. After the continent-shattering chaos of Season 3, Geralt, Ciri, and Yennefer are scattered across a war-ravaged realm, hunted from every side as old alliances crumble. Geralt of Rivia must assemble a daring Hansa of unlikely allies to navigate enemy territory and rescue his fated Child of Surprise, facing danger at every turn. Ciri, now on the run and separated from her mentor, falls in with a gang of young outlaws known as the Rats, forcing her to confront whether she will seize her destiny or flee from it. Cut off from her former power, Yennefer must rally mages and rebuild her influence to shape the outcome of an impending apocalypse. Dark new forces and ancient monsters rise, pushing each character to question what kind of legacy they will leave on the continent. Season 4 introduces a fresh face in the role of Geralt, reinvigorating the series' tone, dynamics, and stakes as the story hurtles toward its thrilling climax. You can watch The Witcher Season 4 exclusively on Netflix. Number 5. Hedda. The film plunges into the world of Hedda Gabler, Tessa Thompson, a newlywed navigating a life of polished privilege that feels increasingly suffocating. Set against the opulent backdrop of a 1950s English country estate, Hedda throws a lavish party to honor her husband's ambitions. But beneath the champagne and glittering gowns simmers a storm of desire, resentment, and hidden histories. The arrival of her former lover, Eileen Lovborg, Nina Haas, ignites a dangerous challenge to her marriage, social standing, and control over her own story. As the night progresses, Hedda weaves a web of manipulation, seduction, and calculated intrigue, playing guests, old flames, and power brokers against each other. Her games spark a chain reaction of betrayal, passion, and violence, tearing apart the veneer of civility and exposing the darkness beneath. Bold, provocative, and electrifying, this reimagining of Henrik Ibsen's classic asks, what does it truly mean for a woman to be trapped, to rebel, and to carve her own path to liberation within a confining society? Number 4. The Roses. The film dives into the seemingly flawless world of Ivy and Theo Rose, a married couple with it all. Thriving careers, a stunning home, and children who complete the picture-perfect life. But when Theo's soaring architectural career suddenly crumbles, just as Ivy's culinary dreams take flight, the balance of power in their marriage begins to shift. First subtly, then with undeniable force. Beneath the polished smiles, polite dinners, and picture-perfect gatherings, resentment and rivalry quietly fester, turning love into a battlefield of sarcasm, sabotage, and emotional one-upmanship. Counseling sessions, carefully orchestrated parties, and idyllic vacations fail to heal the cracks, and the marriage spirals toward collapse with shocking swiftness. As Ivy and Theo struggle to salvage what remains, they discover that their fight isn't truly for each other, but for identity, status, and self-worth. By the end, the home, the facade, and even friendships lie in ruins, casualties of a war neither dared to acknowledge. Number 3. A House of Dynamite. The film opens on what seems like an ordinary morning at the United States Strategic Command, until chaos erupts. An unidentified nuclear missile is detected hurtling toward American soil, and within seconds, the Situation Room at the White House descends into controlled panic. Military generals, intelligence analysts, and senior advisors scramble to trace the launch, weigh retaliation, and contain the unthinkable, while the public remains blissfully unaware. As the clock ticks down, the story cuts between a missile silo in Alaska, a command center in Pennsylvania, and the president himself, forced to make a decision that could alter human history. The tension doesn't come from explosions, but from the suffocating dread of human error, fractured systems, and political gamesmanship under pressure. As the final seconds approach, the screen fades to black, just as the president's hand hovers over the launch key, leaving viewers to question whether survival, in a world built on deterrence, is anything more than an illusion. You can watch A House of Dynamite exclusively on Netflix. Number 2. A Ballad of a Small... In this haunting drama, Colin Farrell embodies Lord Doyle, a once brilliant lawyer whose charm and privilege have decayed into addiction and deceit. After embezzling a fortune, he escapes to the dazzling chaos of Macau, where the neon lights of the casinos promise both refuge and ruin. Nights blur into endless games of baccarat, whiskey-soaked despair, and desperate attempts to keep up the illusion of nobility as his debts and demons close in. There he meets Dao Ming, Fala Chen, a mysterious casino insider whose compassion may conceal motives as dangerous as Doyle's own. Lurking in the shadows is Cynthia Blythe, Tilda Swinton, a relentless private investigator intent on dragging Doyle's sins into the light. As Doyle descends into a fever dream of luck, lies, and longing, the glittering casino world peels away to reveal a hollow core of guilt and self-destruction. The Ballad of a Small Player transforms Macau's seductive opulence into a mirror of Doyle's crumbling soul, a hypnotic story of redemption, ruin, and the deadly allure of chance. You can watch The Ballad of a Small Player exclusively on Netflix. Player number 1. The Long Walk. Set in a chillingly reimagined America, The Long Walk thrusts viewers into a dystopian world where an annual walking competition becomes a state-sanctioned execution disguised as entertainment. Each year, dozens of teenage boys are forced to march at a constant speed of 3 miles per hour. Slow down, and after 3 warnings, you're shot dead on the roadside. Among them is Ray Garrity, an idealistic young man who joins the walk, chasing glory and the promise of a wish fulfilled, only to discover that survival demands far more than endurance. As the miles stretch endlessly on, Ray forges fragile alliances, confronts the fragility of hope, and witnesses the terrifying normalization of death as spectacle. Exhaustion, paranoia, and despair blur the line between competition and cruelty, testing not just bodies but souls. By the time the walk nears its end, Ray must face the ultimate question. In a world where victory is built on the suffering of others, what does it truly mean to win? You can watch The Long Walk exclusively on Prime Video.